おい、レナ。
何かな？授業中なんだよ。
昨日の祭りだけどさ、俺、いつ頃みんなと合流したっけ？
え？
To be honest, I was pretty excited afterwards, and I gobbled down some cans of beer. I mean, it's kind of embarrassing, but I don't quite remember some things. For random babbling, it wasn't a bad excuse.
ケイイチくん、最初は来れないって言ってたんだよね。みーちゃんの家にそう電話したんでしょ？
That matched. I called Mion and told her to take Satoku in my place since I wouldn't be able to meet up with him due to things I had to do. You know, murder.
さとこちゃんを誘ってあげようっていうのは、みんなでお祭りの準備をしてた時に決めたんだよ。少しでもおじさんの姿の見えないところに連れ出してあげようと思って。
That was the same too. Mion said that when I called her. That everyone had already decided to invite her.
それでみんなで、レナとみーちゃんとリカちゃんで、さとこちゃんの家に行って、さとこちゃんを連れ出して。さとこちゃんのおじさん、すっごく意地悪そうな人だった。
That part didn't matter. What I was trying to ask was...
俺は、いつ合流したんだ？
そんなことも忘れちゃってるの？ケイイチくん、だから祭りの前の日はよく寝た方がいいよって言ったのに。
だから、俺はいつ合流したんだよ。
Tell me now, or I'll kill you too. At my sudden threatening demand, Rena was at a loss for words. Oops, I shouldn't have rushed that. I told her I was sorry.
境内でだよ。ひょっこりと。リカちゃんと話してたじゃない。
巫女さん姿のリカちゃんと楽しそうに話してた。それでレナも加わって、お持ち帰りって。
リカちゃんと話してたのか？
ケイちゃん、用事か何かがあったんじゃないって私が聞いたらさ、ケイちゃん、胸を叩きながら自分で言ったじゃないのよ。用事なんかより祭りで大暴れする方が大切だぜって。
I didn't say that. I never said anything like that. I never even went to the shrine grounds yesterday to begin with. I never had the time to stop by a place like that. I went to dig the hole as soon as I woke up. I had a pretty hard time doing it. After that, I snuck into the school and made a call. I called him out and lay in wait. And then it started raining really hard. With that kind of downpour, the festival should have come to a halt. In other words, it ended then. From the time the festival started to when it ended. It would have been impossible for me to have swung by the shrine grounds. I was already there when Mion and the others dragged Satoko out and brought her to the shrine, and I was talking to Rika-chan. Then, where would Rika-chan say we met? The teacher went out to wash her hands, so I ran over to Rika-chan's desk and asked her directly.
ケイイチとですか？
ああ、リカちゃんはミオンたちが来る前から俺と話してたんだろ？いつ俺に会ったんだ？いつどこでだよ？
ケイイチが何を聞きたいのかわからん。
俺昨日寝不足で半分頭がぼーっとなっててさ、何も覚えてないんだよ。
It looked like Rika-chan bought into my babbling.
ケイイチと会ったのは集会所から村長さんたちと出てきた時なのです。ケイイチは西宮殿の扉の前にいましたのですよ。
何？西宮殿？
I've never heard a building called that before. Or maybe I have, but At the very least, I wouldn't know where on the shrine grounds it was.
村長さんが、そこは神聖な場所だから、みだりに近寄ってはならん
Alright, fair
よ
enough,
と怒
fair
り
enough.
ましたですよ。ケイチ、それも忘れてしまいましたですか？
I was too scared to ask anymore. The more I asked, the more it became clear without any doubt that Keiichi Maibara was present at the Furude Shrine Grounds during the Watanagashi Festival. The clearer that became, the more doubts, no fears I had. Who on earth was I yesterday? Whoever that was, he had a good time in my place, and managed to go the entire day without letting them notice I wasn't there. Oh, right. When did that person leave everyone? This morning my mother got mad at me for having stayed out so late last night. Which meant at the very least that Keiichi Maibara hadn't come home while my mother was still awake. The festival would have been closed because of the downpour. If I recall right, when I went back to the house's storage room to get another shovel, I think the clock said 7. Since it was already raining hard by then, the festival would have had to close down before 7. If I'd returned that early, I would have definitely run into my parents. Or, at the very least, they wouldn't have asked me when I got back last night. So the Keiichi Maibara from yesterday, that meant he never went home. That meant the downpour happened, the festival was broken up, everyone left. But he didn't go back to the house. That means... When I arrived at the natural conclusion, a wicked chill suddenly froze my spine and climbed up to my brain. That meant Keiichi Maibara was the same as Satoshi. One day he never went home. On the night of the Watanagashi, he never went home. The downpour interrupted the festival, and on the way home, he suddenly disappeared. And I, who was dealing with the corpse, went home without a problem. I was so tired I wasn't even hungry, so I went up to my room without a sound, and crawled into my futon. Who was I? That much was obvious. Keiichi Maibara. Keiichi Maibara was me. There may have been another one, but that doesn't negate the fact that I was Keiichi Maibara. Then, that other Keiichi Maibara was... what? The voices of the cicadas steadily filling the classroom were beginning to bother me. Suddenly I laid eyes on Satoko. Oh, that's a bad face. Yeah, I don't know about that face. Satoko's expression was dark as always. She seemed completely exhausted. At a life of agony she couldn't even imagine an ending to. What had last night been like for Satoko? Did she have fun with everyone and feel a little happier, even if for a moment? And when she went home, the end of her dream, she'd probably have gone to sleep afraid of when her uncle would return. And then this morning, her uncle hadn't come home. And then she went to school. Right now, she must have been still trapped by the rotten idea from which she couldn't be saved, that her uncle would need her when she got back. But you can rest easy, Satoko. Your uncle won't ever be coming back. I couldn't tell her it was because I'd killed him. When Satoko realized on her own that her uncle would never return, then that would truly be the end of a long, insane night. That's right. I didn't do anything wrong. I did the best possible thing I could have as Satoko's Nini. Not an atom in my body regretted it. And look, calm down and think, Keiichi Maibara. From a certain point of view, isn't it convenient there was another Keiichi Maibara? I buried the corpse perfectly. A beginning wouldn't happen. But if worst came to worst and it got out, and the investigation got to me, I now had a strong alibi, able to profess the fact that I'd been at the Watanagashi festival. But accepting something so creepy and using it as an alibi. Still, if I'd proved I hadn't gone to the festival yesterday, it would do no good and a whole lot of harm. That was what left the really, actually bad aftertaste. You'll forget about it, Keiichi Maibara. Everything that happened before today. So, just forget about the Keiichi Maibara who was there yesterday too. Instead, let's watch gently over Satoko for the day her smile returns. And the day that would mark the end of that insane, all too long night.
それでは今日はこれで終わりです。皆さん、寄り道をしないでちゃんとお家へ帰るんですよ。委員長、号令。起立。気をつけ。礼。
Goodbye. I thought about many things, and saw my thoughts dispersed by many other things. I didn't know whether or not that time had been spent worrying or daydreaming, but either way it came to an end along with the class. Cheerfully our classmates got their things and ran for the hallway. Mion, Rena, and Rika-chan were packing up as well. What about Satoko? This whole day, she seems deflated. Well, her uncle may not have returned last night, but she wouldn't have known he'd never return. How much I wanted to express that fact to her. Satoko packed up her pencil box and math book messily, and after a dark glance at the clock, heaved a sigh. Then went to leave the classroom. Then, suddenly, someone placed a hand on her shoulder and stopped her.
何ですの？私、ちゃんと水やり当番もやりましたし、プリントだってちゃんと。
Her words, possessed by a persecution complex, hurt. I spoke loudly so everyone could hear.
なあみんな、さ、今日は久しぶりにやらないか？部活。
Satoko always had to tend to her uncle, so club has been on hiatus. In our minds, our club was proof of a calm, peaceful life. By enjoying being together, I wanted to make Satoko realize her days of darkness were over.
レナは、いいよ。
そりゃ、まあ、私は構わないけど、さとこがいいならね。
Under a condition. That was important. With everything up to her, Satoko gave a worried look.
なあ、さとこ。久々にどうだよ。パーッとさ。
お気持ちは嬉しいでございますけど。
My uncle might already be home. Thus spoke her darkened eyes, her mouth unmoving.
さとこもさ、連日息が詰まるような生活をずっと続けててさ、そんなのは心にも体にも悪いだけだぜ。やっぱりたまにはパーッと弾けなきゃな。
放っておいてくださいまし。私だってそりゃ部活がまたやれたらと思っていますわよ。
With one word, but she looked down.
みんなで遊んだ方が楽しいのはさとこだってよく知ってるだろ。俺たちは仲間だぜ。みんなで一緒に過ごすようにできてるんだよ。さとこだって昨日みんなでお祭りで騒いで楽しかったろ。
Rena nearly said something, but she was too late.
ケイチさん、何を言ってますの？
My arm on her shoulder seemed to weigh her down, and she threw it off.
私がお祭りで楽しく、いつ遊んだって言うんですの？
Oh.
楽しく遊んだのは、圭一さんだけじゃありませんの。
I can't believe you don't remember even that, Keiichi. I looked over to Mion for help. But now everyone was looking down. My instincts told me that Satoko hadn't gone to the festival. But Rena said it herself, that she went with Mion to Satoku's house to invite her.
さとこちゃん、途中で帰っちゃったの。神社には行かなかった。
どうして？
I realized the absurdity of what I just said with Satoko in front of me.
おじが家で待ってるのに、一人だけ遊んでると悪いって言って、神社の直前で。
私たちも引き止めたんだよ。今日はおじさん公認だから、ちゃんと遊んでも怒られないんだよって。
At some point, tears had begun welling up in Satoko's eyes. Satoko was so afraid of her uncle that she couldn't even allow herself time with her friends, and went home. No, she was even afraid of letting herself have a good time with her friends.
圭一さんはいいですわね。みんなで楽しくお祭り一夜を過ごせて。聞けば、大層盛り上がって大活躍だったそうじゃないですの。お羨ましいことですわ。
Smiling to herself, her tears began to fall. Oh no.
私には、養わなければならないおじがいますの。
Don't worry, he's dead,
圭一さん
probably.
みたいに、ご両親にのんびり養ってもらってる人とは、わけが違いますですのよ。
さとこ。
楽しくお祭りが過ごせてよかったですわね。私の分まで楽しく過ごせて本当におよろしかったですこと。私だって部活がしたいですわ。みんなで楽しく大騒ぎして、楽しくて楽しくて。でも、今の私、そんなの。
Unable to withstand such violent emotions, a few teardrops slid down her cheek. But even though she was having such a terrible time, not once did she ever say that it was hard for her. It was a sad, obstinate bravery. But the days when Satoko had to feel like that were over. Satoko didn't need to endure it, to bear it anymore. She could forget all about it now, and smile. I was so frustrated at not being able to tell her that directly. Instead, I said something that I'm not sure I should have said before I thought twice about it.
帰ってこないんだろ、あいつは。
The words were deeply meaningful to me, but I didn't know if Satoko understood them.
帰ってこないって、誰がですの？
ゆうべは帰らなかったんだろ、お前のおじは。
何を言ってますの、圭一さんは。
Satoko shouted with all her might.
あいつがいついなくなったって言うんですの？
Oh. I think we've definitely jumped world lines here.
いつ
落ち着けよ。だって昨日あいつは帰ってこなかったろ。
I kind of see where this might be going, and I kind of see Keiichi just saying something super rude considering the circumstances.
圭一さんが何を言ってるのか全然わかりませんでしたよ。
さとここそ何を言ってんだよ。だってあの男は。
I killed him. Killed him yesterday. Killed him for sure. And I buried him. Buried him whole. He could never have returned to his house.
昨日だって私にいっぱい意地悪して怒鳴ってわめいて当たり散らして作ったご飯を投げられた。
That doesn't sound like a dead man.
お味噌汁もひっくり返された。暑かった汚かった。そしてお掃除も私がした。私が
Oh, dang it. Get out of here, virus protection. No, get out. Sorry. What? Our stories weren't matching up.
あいつえ
今朝だって朝ごはんの時起こせって言われたから起こしたのに怒られた。起こさなかったらまた怒るのに起こしても怒られた。
さとこ
Rika-chan went over to Satoko and said a few words of consolation. But Satoko angrily refused those words and thrust Rika-chan away.
いいにいいに早く帰ってきてよ。
Crying, Satoko slowly walked out into the hallway. After a moment, Rika-chan went after her. I couldn't stop thinking about the words Satoko had spoken while crying. I buried her uncle last night, but she said this morning. That was impossible. I buried him last night, so she couldn't have seen her uncle this morning. What was Satoko? At that point, I heard Mion's cold voice.
ねえケイちゃん、さとこのおじさんが帰ってこないって。
Nothing? Gulp. I said too much. I let my emotions get the better of me.
レナも聞いたよ。
Oh, no!
さとこちゃんのおじさんが帰ってこないって言った。
Did I say that? I meant, are you sure that he was at home?
どうして？なんで帰ってこないの？
おかしいよね。だって、
Isn't it?
今朝も
Isn't
ちゃ
it
んと
though?
さとこちゃんのおじさん
That's
がいるのよ。
that's super strange, and we should just drop it.
なのに、なんで帰ってこないなんて言うのかな。
ケイちゃん、言ってることがさっきから変。
Suddenly, Mion and Rina started to speak in strange and creepy voices. What were they doing? What were they saying?
ケイちゃんはさとこのおじさんがいると何か都合が悪いことでもあるわけ？
お前らこそ何を言ってるんだ。さとこのおじなんかいない方がいいに決まってるだろうが。
Oh, yep, here come the eyes.
それはもちろんいない方がいいよね。
Keiichi, this is why you don't murder people, because your friends go insane. Something wasn't right. The next thing I knew, Mion and... Oh, bug on my arm. Scared me. Next thing I knew, Mion and Rina were smiling thinly, and their eyes were dark and muddy in a way I'd never seen before. And as our eyes met, that mud seemed to fill even the air.
さとこのおじは確かに嫌なやつだよね。私もいなくなった方がいいやつだと思うよ。でもさ、仕方ないじゃない。
Nothing we can do. Something's wrong. Something's clearly wrong here. What the heck was happening? After a moment, a chilly liquid-like feeling, as though my blood had been mixed with sugar, crawled up my spine.
仕方ないってそりゃ仕方ないけど、でもそれじゃさとこが。
仕方がなければ
Oh, the eyes, they're less
どうす
spooky.
るのかな。
Rina was trying to prompt me to say more. There really was no choice, so I killed him. I killed him to protect Satoko.
それは
放っておきなよ。そのうち解決しちゃうと思うしさ。
さとこちゃんがおじさんがいるって言ってるんだからいる。ちゃんと昨日もいたし、今朝もいる。そうならそうでいいんじゃないかな。
Mion and Rina were speaking unbelievably dismissively. how could they be talking like that? Mion and Rina, they were my friends and were seriously worried about Satoku's abuse, weren't they? They would never blurt out something like this. And I definitely killed Satoku's uncle. No matter what Satoko or anyone else says, I wouldn't acknowledge it because him being alive was impossible. There's no way he's alive. It was impossible. And yet, since Satoko herself said he was here, then he was alive. I didn't know why or how, but suddenly Mion and Rina were at my side, standing there silently.
帰ろうよ、ケイちゃん。
帰ったらね、今日は久しぶりにレナ、宝探しに行くつもりなんだ。
Do you really?
みーちゃんも来るんだよ。
ケイちゃんも一緒に行こう。もちろん拒否権はないからね。
If words could freeze blood, I know, right? That's kind of how I felt. Then there was no doubt that they would have frozen me solid. I could hear it. A layer of thin ice. The sound of all my muscles tensing. And with them closely at my sides, we left the school as if they were police officers taking me away. They talked about silly things the entire way home, like they always did. But they always stood at my sides, as if to prevent me from escaping. This was strange. Everything about this day was strange. Actually, it had been strange ever since the previous night. Yes, thinking back, it'd been strange ever since killing Satoku's uncle. That creepy meeting with Takano-san was only the beginning. That insane night was still continuing. Yes, it still hadn't ended.
何？どうしたの、ケイちゃん。急に立ち止まったりして。
ごめん。なんでもないよ。
When I stopped, it was distant, but I definitely heard them. An extra set of footsteps. That was proof. Proof that insane night hadn't ended. Mion left where she usually did, and we finally came to my house.
じゃあね、ケイチくん。お家で待っててね。レナ、すぐに迎えに行くから。
What was it? She was inviting me along on one of her oversized garbage treasure hunts at the dam site, right? But why now? Mion coming along was strange too. Mion may have accepted her in his little hobby, but she hated fishing through garbage, so she'd never come with her before. And the location specifically being the dam site was a little creepy. The dam construction site was completely outside the flow of everyday life. It was so remote that no one ever went there unless they thought in particular. Nobody lived there, and there were no lights, so at night it got very dark very quickly. I was being forcibly invited there. There was no reason I had to fear Rina and Mion. Besides, wouldn't the trouble I'd make by refusing them be a pain to deal with? In that way, it didn't seem like going treasure hunting with them was a bad idea. But that insane night was continuing. Haven't the sirens of instinct been wailing in my mind for a while now? Warning me that Rina and Mion were strange. That I needed to be cautious. The warning sirens were so freaking loud it felt like my head would split in two.